As for our next speaker, we have someone who knows what it takes to drive innovation from within. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from the Chief Innovation Officer of HNB, Chandima Cooray.
So Peter just talked about not having labels. Innovation is in my title, so can't help it. Yeah, I think picking up on what Andul and Peter was talking about, innovation. I think in trying to do anything, the most, important question to answer is why. Why are we talking about innovation? Why should someone innovate? And this is actually the question that I'm trying to answer. I just joined HMB 2 months ago. This is my first banking experience as well for the financial sector. Why innovate? Now, Peter talked about the situation of the country. Quite a contrast to situation with banks. Banks are profitable, doing well. Have been doing well for a long time. They're obviously doing something right. So why change? So this is probably third or fourth time I'm faced with the same dilemma. I was faced with the same scenario at Hamas. Both of us were there with our FMCG operation, where they had, I think, 12 quarters growing at twice the speed of GDP growth of Sri Lanka. And then you go and say like, okay, let's change, let's do systems, no one listens. So what worked there is actually benchmarking. So sometimes when you don't really recognize the challenge across you. Sometimes you need to induce the challenge. So at Hamas, what we were able to do actually is through a relationship with SAB, where they have collected lots of data. And we used to compare ourselves against companies in Sri Lanka, the manufacturing sector of Sri Lanka. But we got ourselves measured against best-in-class manufacturing in consumer space in the region. And the picture was very different. With some of the metrics, we were actually off the charts. I mean, our numbers just not fit in the scale. So that actually created an opportunity to have a conversation. So HMB, I still don't have the magic formula, so I'm still looking. But what we want to do is to, I mean, you can't actually drive innovation through just a process. I mean, it's actually a process and a movement of changing the culture, because this is job really. So to me, innovation is about solving problems, finding problems and solving them. And often, as corporates, we have these idea boxes. Right? We expect everyone to come and drop this idea, which gets collected, which gets evaluated by a central team and decides which problems to be solved. But we have the process as well. So first thing we want to change is to solve the problem where the problem is, and solve the problem, get the problem solved by people who are actually facing that particular problem. And typically that's far away from the head office. Can be a certain branch who's servicing a particular type of customer who faces a challenge, but right now may not have the skills or the methodology or the space to really change anything, because banks run on very rigorous processes. So this is the first challenge we are trying to solve. And the way that we are thinking, we still don't know whether this works or not, but this is how we're thinking about it. So we want to have people whom we are going to train on certain ways of identifying a problem and solving it using a certain set of tools. So one great tool is actually design thinking. Because design thinking brings empathy towards the owner of that problem. And it also allows people who are faced with that problem to be part of that process of solving the problem. This has worked in other places, but there's a new challenge in a banking setup. And our margin of error is very low. We say fail fast and all that, but banks, there are certain areas we can't fail. Central bank is like on a hawk's eye mode on us, and it's other people's money that we are the custodian of. So there's very little room for failure in that sense. So we need to create artificial zones where we can play around. So we need to create additional spaces where we can simulate certain things, test certain things, leverage relationships we have with some of the customers. I mean, our branch managers are a great bunch of people who have developed these great relationships. And they're the people that we need to go to test these ideas with real customers. So that's the process that we're going to go through. And maybe in a year, I can come and say whether it worked, didn't work, what did we learn out of this process. But to the external world, I believe we are in the business of solving problems. So right now, we are solving problems or giving similar solutions pretty much to everyone in the country. And we spoke about AI and the whole new set of possibilities that AI gives us and how we're going to use that. So what we want to do with kind of decades of data that we have is to be able to identify different groups of people who have common problems. So right now, if you ask how many customer segments we have, maybe it's 4, maybe it's 10. But in reality, when you take a country, maybe it's like 100, maybe it's thousands. And each of these small segments has a set of common problems. And we want that to be identified and served. So I'll create a picture for you. Has everyone been to Hirikatya? Yes. You enjoy, I think that's a great place to go. Because it's an ecosystem of its own. Very little digital. So if you think about parking is very expensive there. I think you pay like 1,000 rupees for 1 day's parking, but you have to have cash. So we are not thought of like how do we digitize that? And also think of a person who's actually selling king coconut. So if you look at that person's the trade and the commerce in the morning, he has to buy the king coconuts from a truck that comes. So he needs maybe 5,000 rupees. He'll make 7,000 rupees by the end of the day. What we want to be able to do is to enhance his trade if he wants. Next day, he wants to buy a little bit more, apply for a loan on the app for 7,000 rupees. And we know who this person is because he's encouraging his customers to pay using QR. So we have the transaction history, so we can automatically approve that 7,000 rupee loan. Give him the money. We know that he's going to settle that back in the evening. We can also offer things like micro insurance for him whenever he can pay. He can pay that extra to take certain safeguards on himself, maybe his trade as well. December, we can offer him a pre-approved 10,000 rupees to buy school books for his kids, because we know he has a family with kids and he needs that help. Of course, we can bundle maybe 20% off with that less as well. So that's the kind of picture that we want to film. But we don't want to stop there. Now we know, like in the morning, this person is giving money to this truck. We know is some elements of that. We can see whether that's a customer for bank. If not, the branch manager will be notified, okay, and see whether you can get that person in. And that person is paying a coconut grower somewhere. And that's how you actually bring the whole ecosystem into of the bank. Now we do this with corporates, right? It's very easy. It's a few conversations. But the moment you go into this kind of micro segments, we can't get humans involved. We want the machines, the data, the AI agents that we want to build to be able to do this and automate this. So that's the quest that we are in from a technology point of view. But the most interesting thing that I want to share with all of you here is that we can't solve all the problems of the country. We have lots of data. We have the banking infrastructure. You know, when I was like passing HMB all this time, I was wondering why your bank needs such a big building and so many people. What are they actually doing? Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking from a system point of view, okay, there's a creditor and a debitor, we give money, that's getting debited. Apart from the guys on the counter, why do you need 20 floors of people? I know half the answer now, but there's a lot of governance that goes in, which some of it can be automated and all that, but there are certain pillars the bank needs to have around risk and audit and compliance and all of that to make sure like the banking system in the country stays stable. But that's not something that everyone can do, but that's what we have done. So now we invite all of you who want to solve problems, any financial problem for anyone in Sri Lanka, you can work with us. You can leverage on that pillars that HMB is built on and partner with us to solve any problems. So we will open up our systems through APIs for you to come and work with us. So what we want to be is the most friendliest bank and the best bank for fintechs in Sri Lanka to work with. So that's my message tonight. So look forward to having great conversations after. Thank you.